Yeah, I mean, you know, going through that at such a young age, like feeling like there's no other way out besides that is so heartbreaking because it's just I feel like that it's gotten worse and worse in our society, and it happens at younger and younger ages. Is like people feel that intense of emotions that that's their only way out. What was that? What was being there like for you at 13? Being in like the patient part of it when you weren't at home. Like, was your mom there a lot? Were you like by yourself most of the time? What was that experience like of coming out of that really dark moment and then trying to grasp back onto to life?
Um, it was honestly, it was insane because it's a children's unit. And
Mhm.
so there's all different, like there was kids as young as like 11 in there. And then there were kids who were about to be transferred into the adult system. They're like 17,
Mhm.
about to turn
Yeah.
18. So it was a lot of crazy experiences. There were kids in there for a lot worse issues than what I had going on. But it was very interesting being in there. I didn't want to leave after a while just because it felt safe. Just because, and I expressed this to my mom when she came in because they had regulated visits where like they would come in and they would speak to the therapists and they would speak to like the doctors and everything about like what I was going through there and what they were learning about me. And even towards the end of it, I was in there so long because they didn't feel like I was going home to a safe place. And I didn't feel like I was going home to a safe place. Just because of like all the abuse and everything that was going on at home. But once I got out, it did get a little bit easier because I feel like there was more eyes on me. Like everybody was in my family too, because it got out in our family. They were like, okay, like there's actually something wrong with Alexa. Like we don't know what's going on at home, but there's something wrong with her. And so like my grandma was more present in my life. My aunts and my uncles were more present in my life. And so I had more escapes once I got out of the facility. So it was a lot easier to transition back into the real world, but it still was hard with stigma as well going back to school. Because everyone was like, oh my gosh, like this is the crazy girl. She was just put into a mental institution. Like there's something wrong with her. So it like perpetuated bullying at school. So it was a little bit harder in some aspects, but easier in others.
When you went back, was that middle school or high school?
That was middle school.
Middle school. Oh, middle school's rough too.
Mm-hmm.
kids are
It was
kids
eighth
are
grade.
mean. Um, what was? Did you face a lot of bullying for people knowing about that?
Yeah. I was bullied prior to that already. I was kind of like an odd kid out. In general, I'm not a very social person. I didn't make friends easily. I was always drawing. I was always just kind of doing my own thing or like hang out with my brothers. I would never like socialize too much. So people thought that I was weird because I would dress like a boy with all like my brother's hand-me-downs. And like I didn't care about makeup, I didn't care about hair, I didn't care about like all of like the normal girl things. And so I was ridiculed for that beforehand. And then afterwards, I was ridiculed for the suicide attempt and the self harming and all of that.